Austin Ekeler will be back on the show all season long, every Tuesday, right at 5 p.m. We're thrilled to have him back on Grant and Danny.
On air and on the road, Austin Ekeler is driven by the Ted Britt Automotive Group, Ted Britt Ford in Chantilly and Fairfax, your F-150 headquarters, Ted Britt Lincoln in Chantilly, and Ted Britt Chevrolet in Sterling, all home to Ted Britt for life. Lifetime vehicle coverage. See and shop them all at tedbritt.com.
Rude Guest Hotline is where we find Austin Rude, the most reliable heating and air conditioning products in the DMV. Got the start this weekend, was the first back used by the Commanders. Austin, thrilled that you're back on the show all season long. Welcome back to the radio program.
Hey, boys, good to be back. I just want to start out by saying shout out to the fans and shout out to you guys because I've gotten a ton of compliments this off season about being on the Grant Danny Show. So you guys are doing some great things and looking forward to another year.
Well, you guys were too this past weekend, buddy. That was a lot of fun. Just walk me through that leading up to the season, the opener. You guys get that win over division rival. Just how is everyone feeling? How are you feeling? And what was that like?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of the ideal way to start out the season, right? Yeah, home opener against a division rival, come out and start out 1-0. And so for us, there's the preparation that leads to us getting back our confidence, getting back our expectations for ourselves. And you always want to go out there and put your best foot forward, knowing that it's still the first game, so this is kind of what you're going to build off of. But it's good to be building off of a win.
Austin, there was so much fascination about the running back room and how guys would be used and who would be used. We were shocked to see Chris Rodriguez was inactive, but the three of you that were up all were very effective. Like, how much did you guys know as the week went on who would be used in what roles and when, or does that evolve closer to the kickoff of week one?
No, I think it's been kind of a thing with our running back room of having different guys that can go out there and make plays and using all of us. It's a long season, so if we can keep bodies healthy by continuing to rotate guys in different scenarios, that's what we're going to do. And I think that's what we did last year really effectively, and I think it's going to be more of the same this year. So I'm glad to add Bill to the room because now we got another guy that can go out there and play at a high level, and so just going to keep that energy fresh in the running back spot.
I'm sure there's going to be some element of situationally used, like where you're best, in 2-4 minute, and when you guys are in spread, in the gun, protecting and getting out of the backfield. But one thing I really liked was, at least from the press level as a novice, it seemed like there was like a flow to it where guys got drives where they could get into a rhythm. Like early in the game, you had drives. And then when Krosky Merritt came in, he had 3 for 24 on a drive, and it was kind of his sequence. Was that the way it goes, or is it more just package and play-driven? Like who should be on the field for this look?
Yeah, it's situational. Sometimes we have drives that are dedicated. Hey, this is your drive. Hey, sometimes this is your play. And so it comes down to what the play is, and I think Coach Lynn, our running back coach, does a really great job, really just rotating guys, letting us get into a rhythm, but also keeping us fresh at the same time. There are guys that are using scenarios, like I'm usually on the field in 2 minutes. So we do have our different specialties, so we play towards that. But, yeah, that's part of the strategy that goes into utilizing your players. It's, okay, what's the scenario? How do I keep them fresh? Because if you have a guy that has 30 touches all game and you need him in 2 minutes, well, that's not maybe the best scenario to play that person in. So there's always a rotation in the strategy that we have over here, especially the way we play because we have no huddle. So you can really, burn out guys really quickly in our offense just because we're going so fast compared to, other offenses. So shout out to our coaching staff for keeping us fresh.
So you mentioned that with the offense, Austin, and Austin Ekeler with this here on Grant and Danny. The standard you guys have set for offense is so much fun. It's awesome that we can sort of talk about it this way. The preseason, you guys didn't get a ton of time together on the grass. Totally understandable, as you said, trying to keep you all fresh for this long grind of a season that's underway now. How did you guys feel in terms of rest versus rust and kind of that first performance? Grade where the offense is for you guys in that game one and versus how much room there is to grow because we saw so much of it last year.
Yeah, I think the sky is the limit with our group. Man, if we can get ourselves clicking, we just had some situational stuff that we need to clean up there at the end of the half, some drops, just some technique things, typical football stuff that you're going to see early in the first part of the year. But now adding new weapons to offensive linemen, new playmakers in our skill positions, and Jaden coming back in his second year, understanding the offense more with Cliff, the same offense. It's getting back to how sharp we were towards the end of the year. And now, hey, do we have other players that can help us kind of get over that little hump? It's still week to week. We got to continue to focus week to week to get ourselves there. But, the potential that we have in our room is huge, and it's up to us to make sure that we're learning from week to week games to continue to build to when football really matters at the end of the year and then go into the playoffs.
Austin, you know how we feel about you on this show. You're so good at a lot of stuff, but especially with that football in your hands. That screen pass where you were the pinball wizard, you're breaking tackles, breaking ankles. You bounced off, I think, every Giant, including like the guy, one of the trainers tried to tackle you, still for a first down. When you get up, there was words, it seems like. When you have a play like that, what are you saying? Obviously, no curse word division, but is it like tune in 5 p.m. on Tuesday to Grant and Danny? Is it like let's go? Walk me through what do you say in those kind of moments? Because obviously you're fired up right for yourself.
I'm not sure that one came to mind at that time. You know, when there's an intense moment, full of energy, when you make a play, you get a rush of emotion and passion that's running through your body. So a lot of times it comes out in a flex and a scream. A first down, a lot of high fives, and so it was just more of that. Just being in the moment, feeling the energy. You got to be in the moment, and then also just take the moment for what it is, because that's what makes the game fun. You have a big play, let's let it out, show some emotion, show some of your personality, because even the crowd too, especially at home, they feed off of that, right? The team feeds off of that. They want to see, the boys are up there fired up, ready to go. So that's what that was. It was a big play, it was a big moment, and so I had to make sure we capped it off with some good celebrating, flexing at the end.
It's relatable content. When we have a great segment and the words come to you and flow off the tongue perfectly, you'll hear a lot of primal screaming and flexing in the bullpen just outside the studio.
Hey, look, you guys are on radio, so we don't get the visuals, so maybe you guys can post that on my Instagram or something for us to see it, because we got to see that for sure.
Austin Ekeler is with us on Grant and Danny here on The Fan. So on that play, was there a little more added juice because of the penalty that you committed one snap earlier? Because it seemed to me like Dan Quinn talked about this after the game. Basically the idea of answering, where Jalen Lane has a ball he probably wants to catch. He doesn't. Next play, makes a great catch. All game long, it seemed like that was the case. Someone would maybe have a play they want back, and then they would make it right up. And we talk to you all the time. I could just hear you in my head after that flag going, details, and I know how much that grates on you. The next play, it's never been harder to tackle Austin Ekeler. Coincidence, or was there a little added oomph to get that back?
I mean, like I mentioned, we had some rust for sure. You can't live in that world where, hey, it's a bad play, it's a good play, that you're going to get beat down the road and doing that. And so, like I said, we got to get back ourselves to where it doesn't have to be, we have to dig ourselves out of a hole. Did I have any extra juice? No. I mean, I'm always ready to go full energy, trying to make everybody miss, trying to get up the field. So, it sucks that I had a false start, a mental lapse there. I was so locked in on the guy that I was going to go block, and he actually was the guy that came across the line, so I stepped forward. But anyway, that's just an excuse that doesn't matter. But no, there was no extra added. I'm always ready to go, always juiced up. It was just an opportunity where I'm pretty much at my best, and that's, hey, a little swing pass, got a blocker out in front, Debo was blocking down the field, and then I got some space and got loose.
Austin, super short week. Thursday night, you guys take on a really good football team at their place. Just, again, walk me through kind of the structure of the week. And the second part is there a good time to have a short week, and might this be it?
Yeah, I think, just answering the last one first, it really comes down to how your body feels. So it's situational. You might be feeling good week 12. You played a lot more football, so, odds are that you're not. So I would say an earlier Thursday night game is generally better as far as the body, just because there's less opportunity to kind of go get beat up out there. But hey, I felt good in week 12 and the last weeks too, playoffs and things like that. There's still a grind on the legs, but it just situational. It depends. But yeah, preparing for another heavy hitting team, and we're looking forward to that, because that's what this league is. If you want to be the best, you got to beat the best, and so you got to beat good teams on the road. And if you can do that, especially on the road, kind of shows a little bit more about where your team's at and how you guys are coming together. So again, we want to continue to build off of what we did last week, and so this is a great opportunity to continue to do that in a hostile environment.
Commanders running back Austin Ekeler joining us on Grant and Danny. A decade in as one of the representatives for the Players Association and one of the real veteran leaders among players all across the league from the PA standpoint. Where are you on Thursday night football?
I think it's, you look at the numbers, and there really isn't too drastic of a change or any at all, if I can remember correctly, of injuries or things like that. And look, we have one. Typically you have one throughout the year, and so I think it creates enough opportunity, and clearly, it has for the last, decades, that it makes football prime time that much more special. So I think the moment is really cool to be in, and creating more moments like that for our guys, that creates more buzz, which creates, more revenue, which creates just more, moments that you'll never forget. I remember playing the Steelers on, Thursday Night Football, and we beat them at home with the Chargers and scored like 4 touchdowns. I'll never forget that game. And just special moments like Thursday Night Football that contribute to, I think, why football is so great, because there's so many great opportunities, great moments, throughout the entire week.
Austin, how much time do you feel like you need, and then maybe in general the offense needs to kind of, again, feel like it's second nature, feel like like you're not rushed and you're comfortable, that it just now feels natural? Because again, it's like, I understand not taking all the hits when the games don't count. It makes perfect sense to me. So when do you feel like, how much time does it take you to kind of go, okay, now I'm in my rhythm?
Well, not very long. As far as playing football, we got to get going immediately. We're trying to do it from the first snap all the way through the season. But there's a defense on the other end, when I'm on the offense, that also do the same thing, and that's contrast to what we're trying to do. So there's always little tweaks in technique that you can have, and then also dealing with your body, trying to keep it healthy based off of what's going on with you. It might be used in different ways. So it's a never ending puzzle that continues to, the puzzle pieces keep switching. So you're now doing it this way one week, you might switch it up the next week. And so that's what makes it so great and entertaining, because it's never stopping cycle of adjusting, of tweaking, of trying to get fine tuned at what we're good at. And you want to do it as quickly as possible. And yes, you want to, to get it as quickly as possible, but it really matters down the stretch in the end of the year where, hey, it's time to make the playoff push. So, nothing wrong with, getting yourself ready to go, in the first weeks, get yourself a schedule where you hopefully can continue to put yourself in a position where you're already looking at the playoff picture. But regardless, you want to continue to peak at the end of the year.
Austin, Lambeau Field, Thursday Night Football under the lights. Closest thing in football we've got to Wrigley or Fenway or something like that. How many experiences have you had there, I guess, first, and what are your thoughts on that stadium and just getting to go play there in that atmosphere?
Yeah, a lot of history out there, the Cheeseheads, the Lambeau Leap, all that great stuff. The fans are right next to the stadium, right next to the field, so it's a pretty awesome environment, even as an away team. Just feeling the energy. I know it's going to be loud, it's prime time. And so it's going to be an awesome environment. I'm looking forward to be out there. I've been out there one time. It was late in the year, so I'm glad now it's early in the year, so we can avoid some of the 0-degree weather that we had to deal with. But I'm really looking forward to this situation. The NFL is an experience for us as players. Yeah, we're still competing, but this is also a life out here. So it's moments like these that I'll never forget during my playing times.
Are you pro or anti going Lambeau Leap as a visitor? Maybe you see a couple Commanders fans, some friendly faces in the first row. Maybe we clear that wall?
I think as long as you got, Commanders fans there, I think it's appropriate. The Green Bay fans might disagree with me, but I think, hey, if they're there, it's opportunity, low wall, you got to hit it, because you're not going to get many opportunities like that, for sure.
I love a move where if it's Green Bay fans, you do kind of the pump fake. Like you're going to Lambeau Leap and just like, no, I'm just kidding. I just scored a touchdown. I got to go celebrate.
I don't know. I saw what happened on with Lamar and all that.
That's true.
So we don't need any situations happening.
Yeah, you might need to keep your distance after that.
Yeah, that's a good point.
My guy was kind of hanging over the wall a little bit.
Yeah. We're trying to avoid any of that.
Totally hear you. As an offensive player, and again, you take so much abuse as running back. It's not just the tackles, but it's the blocks, stepping up against linebackers or other folks with a full head of steam, etc. So understand if you're just sort of catching your breath and looking at the Microsoft Surface there on the sideline. But how much of the defense were you watching this past Sunday, and kind of what did you make of their performance? They were dominant.
Oh, yeah. Shout out to the defense. I gave them a shout out immediately after the game, because holding someone to no touchdowns. We had a situation where there was 3 plays in the goal line, penalty, another 3 plays in the goal line from the 2-yard line. They held them out there. So, man, they showed out. They stuffed the run, did a great job, even on the outside. So that was awesome to see, and I'm hoping to continue to see that, continue to go. Boys flying around, hitting, running, and hitting. That's what you want to see from your defense, just boys headhunting out there. And, big guys getting to the quarterback, getting pressure. So, again, this is just week 1, so we're looking to build. But, man, that's a good starting point, if I say so.
Well, this segment was a good starting point for year 2 on the show with us, Austin. We appreciate your time. We're thrilled you're back on G&D this year. Go get him in Lambeau.
Absolutely. Appreciate you, boys. Looking forward to it.
On air and on the road, Austin Ekeler is driven by the Ted Britt Automotive Group, Ted Britt Ford in Chantilly and Fairfax, your F-150 headquarters, Ted Britt Lincoln in Chantilly, and Ted Britt Chevrolet in Sterling, all home to Ted Britt for Life, lifetime vehicle coverage. See and shop them all at tedbritt.com.
Ekeler, the start, in air quotes, because he was on the field first, that's all that means, but truly was the guy for the first 2 drives that was the focal point at running back. In the end, though, is kind of what you would have thought. Krosky Merritt led them in rushes, almost 2-1 over Ekeler. He had 10, Ekeler had 6, and after Krosky Merritt got worn out because he ripped off a 42-yard run, it was Jeremy McNichols who was providing the physical carries against the Giants front, knowing the run was coming in that 4-minute offense to salt the game away.
They're going to have to do this, and they're going to ride the hot hand, too, at times. I still think Rodriguez will be a factor this year. Just kind of depends who's up, who's down. The rest of the roster, too, there's always a crunch. Anytime you squeeze the balloon on one end, it inflates on the other and vice versa. But yeah, I mean, the early offense, you've seen this in multiple games where I know Robinson was a starter, quote unquote, but they started the Philadelphia game up there on Thursday Night Football. Ekeler right, Ekeler left. You saw the Cincinnati game where they went Ekeler a couple times to move the ball past midfield and get a scoring drive going. So he's going to be a factor at times. You just have to pick your spots with him, and they picked to start the game.